Welcome into a special edition of the Jordy Culotta Show live here on this Saturday from the Noodle. It is good to be joined by you out there. Thanks for finding us here on this Saturday. Make sure you are liking, sharing, subscribing to all of our posts. We're on YouTube today and on social media. Are we good? I'm just hearing one ear. Are we? There we go. Okay.
You have to put both of your head.
No, yeah, but I'm just on this side. All right, welcome in to a crazy day. What has been a wild day. Hopefully, you saw us on Twitter Squares, which we hit for the first time.
Jesus, definitely our first chance.
Twitter Spaces today for the first time.
You square?
As we were there, I was thinking, there's no way it's Squares, right? But it was instant reaction, and look, man, I'm still in a fog. Like most of you out there, I've been in Little Jay's basketball gym all day long. We were there this morning, then we had to get back this afternoon, kind of in between the news breaking and right now. We were there, and everybody that was walking up, kind of looking into their phone as they were heading into the gym, was really just kind of in a state of shock after the news. And if you haven't heard, you've probably been living under a rock, but we'll catch you up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Will Wade has been terminated by LSU. It was announced earlier this afternoon as the news broke that SI and John Rothstein was actually the first to have it. Rothstein was CBS. School owes LSU nothing in its notice of allegations that was handed back to the university, committed by Wade. If you've read the statement, we'll catch you up on everything here. So let us get set up. And first off, let everybody kind of get in here. Thanks for finding us. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to hit the like button, share button. That'll put it in front of more people's face. We'll get to some of your comments, some of your reaction. The cool thing about Space is that other people were allowed to get involved. Squares. And it was cool to hear some of the interaction out there. First and foremost, let's start with the news. Obviously, Will Wade being released by LSU just one day after the SEC tournament knocks the Tigers out, as Arkansas was beat today by Texas A&M in a surprising game as Buzz Williams,
LSU.
The Aggies, one of Woodward's hires, making some noise here in the postseason. But LSU was bounced yesterday. And I don't know if it was just me or if some people also were out there thinking the same thing. I thought Wade's demeanor yesterday was, it was kind of knowing now what we know. It was as almost if he knew something was up. The antics before half, there was a scene after the game where he kind of charged at Herb Vincent and the director of officials. Not necessarily for some type of all, just kind of he wanted to get his point across. It was kind of yelling about the officiating, but it was a strange day, I thought, in looking back and in knowing what we know now. And it's a hard day, man. It's a shitty day. Sucks, right, for LSU basketball fans, because one thing Wade did in the last 5 years, and we'll get to all the stuff, because let me first say that I was wrong, right? Like in this business, if you're gonna put your nuts out there, and you're gonna put your word out there, and you're gonna put some type of call out there, if it doesn't work out, you have to show back up and get on the microphone. And I was surprised to read some of the things that were in that notice of allegation that went down, just in its purest form, and just the sloppiness of it. And that was something that came up during the wiretap, and we'll get to all of that stuff. But first, let's let this show really thank Will Wade for what he's done for basketball in this community, in this state, and at the university again, in bringing it back just from an interest level as high as it's been since I've ever covered it, and really in the fandom of it since I've been a kid, like the days of Shaq and Chris Jackson and all the superstars that came through here while, if you're in my generation from the, 35 to 45-year-old crowd, that was kind of who we really gravitated to, right? Was more basketball than football just because football was such a mess. But Wade really reinstituted that at LSU in the last 5 years, whether it was the tournament runs, whether it was his passion that he had for the game, whether it was his ability to get recruits on campus or just put people in the seats. He loved basketball. He loved LSU. He really put a winner on the floor, and, come to find out, he was doing it with some tactical ways that just were very off base from what the NCAA was regulated by, and now today it comes to an end. So it's a sad day in my opinion. It's a day that seems, though, in reading the notice of allegations, really a day that was inevitable, judging by just the evidence that the NCAA had accumulated against Wade, and just in some of the ways that Wade was moving through this process. He was very open just during the time of the recruiting. He opened himself up to a lot of, a lot of this stuff. And Wade is a friend of mine. I hate it for him and his family. I hate it for what could be, for a young and very talented and bright basketball coach and somebody who loves it. But it was very sloppy, and just reading the stuff, right? Like, that's one thing that jumps out is just, I don't know how, I don't know how he thought he wasn't going to get caught, and just reading some of the stuff that's been put out over the last couple of hours. And like we've said over the last couple of weeks, or, more than a week, nobody knew what was in that notice of allegations, and what the NCAA had to do with those allegations was they had to prove it, right? And they came with some pretty strong evidence of how it was functioning and what was going on. And, it was time that stuff was, I mean, what was LSU going to do? They had a couple of options.
Hands
right?
were tied.
It was either kind of kick the can on this thing another 6 months and try to fight it and face what could be a potential, who knows what could come down with what has been accused and now proven by the NCAA. And it's going to be, very interesting now to see what, Will Wade's ousting means for those potential sanctions, right? Like, I think that LSU is kind of throwing one to the NCAA and saying, hey, look, we're getting rid of Wade after everything that's happened. Will that cut us any relief in the punishment? Because, as we said last week, the thing that you want to make sure and stay away from throughout this process is the lack of institutional control, right? Like, you don't want to be hit with that term from the NCAA. And LSU was hit with the dreaded lack of institutional control for both the football and basketball program for over a span of 7 seasons, 7 years, right? So, I mean, I don't know what the future is going to look like for LSU athletics as far as what the punishment and penalty is going to be. I don't think that the NCAA carries as much as they used to. I think that their organization is very much a sham. I think that for what they stand for is just egregiously against everything that goes into like free enterprise that we believe in America. It's just it's a bad setup, man. It's a bad setup. and for them to have the power to come down and levy, what they potentially could is a scary proposition to think about. Let's get to the statement from President William Tate and Athletics Director Scott Woodward as it was related to Will Wade and the NCAA investigation. And this was put out about 2 hours ago. It came out about 2:30 this afternoon. And again, this is from the president and athletics director of the university. LSU community, today we informed Will Wade that he has been terminated for cause pursuant to the provisions of his amended employment agreement as the men's basketball head coach at LSU. Bill Armstrong has also been terminated as associate head coach. For more than 4 years, the university has patiently allowed the NCAA investigative process to unfold, jointly working with NCAA enforcement staff and subsequently with the complex case unit to ensure the evidence collected was thorough, fair, and as possible throughout that time. The university and its men's basketball program have operated under an exhausting shroud of negativity. As requested and as required by state law, the university is releasing a redacted copy of the notice of allegations, including multiple charges alleging Coach Wade's personal involvement in it, of awareness of level 1 misconduct. After receiving the notice earlier this week, we took several days to fully evaluate it and engage in deliberate and thoughtful discussions about what our next steps would be. We can no longer subject our university, Department of Athletics, and most importantly, our student athletes to this taxing and already lengthy process without taking action. Our responsibility to protect and promote the integrity and well-being of our entire institution and our student athletes will always be paramount. Notably, our decision to terminate Coach Wade and Coach Armstrong is not an acknowledgement of agreement with any of the allegations. The university will determine its position on the allegations after an exhaustive and objective examination of the relevant facts and applicable NCAA regulations. We will immediately initiate a national search for a head basketball coach. Assistant coach Kevin Nickelberry will lead the team for the remainder of the season. We know that LSU's community will rally around the program and the student athletes, none of whom are alleged to have been involved in any misconduct. Per NCAA rules and procedures, we are unable to provide any further comment on the IARP process, the contents of the notice of allegations, or today's decision. Sincerely signed off on President William Tate and Athletics Director Scott Woodward. So from that, my takeaway is that, look, it got to a point where LSU had seen enough and they had gone through enough negativity where it had gotten to a point where it was time to make a move. And that is what the public stance of LSU is. To me, getting rid of Will Wade is a show of good faith to the NCAA that they are committed in cleaning up their athletic program, and also a message to Indianapolis of take it easy on LSU when you come down on punishment. That's what I would believe that move to be. I also would expect LSU and their next move to be to forfeit postseason play for LSU this season. In another sign of good faith of LSU taking the necessary steps to try and clean up their program and stay off of probation and as, lessly punished as possible. Because what the notice of allegations is stating and what the alleging, I don't know, what was that?
The hammer dropping.
But bad day for LSU. Bad day for the university. Bad day for the program. Bad day for Will Wade. Just all in all.
Bad day for me.
Yeah. Shitty day for me. I mean, shitty day for everybody, man. You can feel it in the fan base, as we said. I mean,
do you think that it was a notice of allegations?
Or
Or is
I
this
do. Yeah, I mean, I think
a fail-safe for football?
No, I mean, look, in the football portion,
because they're wrapped up in this.
Yeah, I mean, in the football portion of the notice, it's the John Paul Funes stuff and the Vidal Alexander, the Odell Beckham handing out the $2,000 on the game.
And that's what makes me interested in this, because they said in those, if you follow Ross Dellinger on Twitter, he had like it all laid out, which was probably tough for him because he covered the LSU program closer than anybody.
Yeah, and he's on vacation.
Drinking a whiskey, no doubt, right now. But for him, he said that the case was almost closed on LSU football with the Vidal and the hospital stuff, and then they reopened it because of Odell, which we thought was nothing. Yeah. They said $2,000 back to players that were already going professional to go play in the NFL, and then they wrapped all this up and reopened the investigation. Was that a part of basketball and football, or just a part of where football gets involved and now football's in trouble again?
The football portion, and this according to Ross Dellinger, the football portion of the NCAA's investigation into LSU was in the final stages of completion, and then the Odell Beckham handing out the $2,000 worth of $100 bills on the Superdome field at the title game had the NCAA reopen the case. LSU's football violations tied to John Paul Funes' payments of $180,000 to Vidal Alexander's father. LSU slapped, as we said, with the dreaded lack of institutional control, and the university in total committed 8 Level 1 violations and 2 Level 2 violations, according to the NCAA.
If you're going to do it, do it.
There's a pattern of noncompliance in those authority condoning cheating, the NCAA reported back to LSU in those notice of allegations. They also said that in total, Will Wade was cited for 5 Level 1 vios, obstructing an investigation by concealing evidence, unethical conduct, cheating that was planned, schemed, and purposeful while at LSU. So it is...
well, that leads me to ask...
I don't know how Wade, from his standpoint, and I talked to Will just limited today. It was and just through text message. This morning it was confirming the news that was starting to bubble. And then later this afternoon, just kind of checking in. And but if I was in his PR camp, and I would tell him this, I would, at this point, I would sit down and I would answer the questions, and I would put a statement out there if it's everything's legally okay from that point of view. But, at some point, just like he said, that he looked forward to the day of being able to tell his side of the story. I would do that, and I would make sure and get out in front and thank everybody that's been a part of this process, because I think that the university's statement, does shed some light on just the feeling of, look, they supported Wade throughout this entire, from the time that it started. And, we were very thankful for it. From LSU standpoint, doing that, because it brought a lot of interest to basketball. But it's, at this point, it's going to be wild to see what his punishment specifically will be, because look, we've talked about this. The notice of allegations has now come down on 4 schools. Kansas had Level 1 violations committed, said they didn't do anything, and Bill Self got a lifetime contract. Auburn had one of its assistants arrested on campus. They served a 2-game suspension, did Bruce Pearl. They gave up a couple of scholarships, no postseason ban. NC State had a couple of things go wrong, and for the most part was not giving up anything. It looks like LSU is going to be, very much made an example out of, but I'm not sure what the penalties are going to be as far as the programs go. It'll be more interested to see like what the show calls is going to be on somebody like Will Wade, because if he's available, there are going to be schools that hire him.
Without a doubt.
But I don't know.
But it makes me ask the question, what's the difference between what happened at Kansas, what happened at Auburn, what happened at Tennessee when Bruce Pearl was there? Like, what is the difference? Is it what? Like, there's no reason to comply with the NCAA ever. And the fact that they gave you a a list of things, but you have no admittance of guilt here. It's the same thing that everybody has dealt with that has ever worked in cahoots with the NCAA. That's how you get caught. So this firing of Will Wade is an admittance of guilt at some point. So it seems like LSU was, like, their hands were tied, but why would you ever admit to it when they don't really have? Do they have evidence? Like, is this just allegations again?
No, I think. Look, man. These are
levied charges.
If you've read these notice of allegations, I mean, there's money coming out of a personal account that they can track. You know what I mean? This isn't an allegation. This is stuff that they had to prove, and they go in and prove that stuff. You know, I mean, whether
it's because it was tied directly to Will Wade as opposed to what happened at Kansas or at other schools where it was tied to a shoe rep, and that you can have a fall guy. Will Wade made himself the fall guy.
Absolutely.
So a little sloppy.
No, it was beyond sloppy. I think that when you heard the wiretap stuff and you heard the phone call with Christian Dawkins, that, I mean, immediately everybody's first thought was, wow, this is really sloppy. I mean, this is great. I mean, not only that, but I mean, rarely do you hear that conversation between the head coach and the representative. Usually that conversation is filtered somewhere along the way where the coach understands what's going on,
never connected.
But you're never going to tie me directly to that, right? I mean, Krzyzewski knows all the layers of Duke basketball. There's also a certain layer that stuff happens on that he knows he happens, but there's an easy, safe plan in place to kind of show, maybe negligence. You know, he didn't know. I mean, in this case, I mean, whether it was the wiretap or whether it was the direct deposits from a personal account into a recruit's account, and some of the people that they were making payments to, not thinking that they would keep their mouth shut. You know what I mean? Like, the people that you're paying in this line of business,
ex-fiancés,
the people that you're paying in this line of business, I mean, it's like uncles. It's like sisters. It's, you know, I mean, it is people that are
ex-girlfriends.
It is people that are immediately tied to these people that have what you would believe their sincere best interest at heart, right? Like, not somebody that you can go in there and they can manipulate you just to get some money and just to get some information that you may not think that they would hang on to it.
That's what I'm saying. He got caught up in people that you shouldn't be able to trust. You should know better. Like, if you're playing the game this dirty, right, you should know to not trust somebody that says, I'm an ex-fiancé or a fiancé of a player, and he got hit up 4 or 5 times for money. Like, you say no immediately. And instead he got kind of dragged along, and then it's like, I'll oust you. He tried to put everything on his shoulders and do it his own way, and I respect Will Wade for it because that's the way you have to play the game, but he was just missing the middleman.
Yeah.
Should have called me.
Daniel Williams, Jordy, how do you feel knowing that you backed Wade? He lied to you? ? I mean, Daniel, you know, like, it was obvious on which, you know, Wade thought he was playing it the right way and trying to get players. And I think I really do believe that Will Wade thought he was doing, and this doesn't excuse anything, but I believe that he believes that he was just doing exactly what everybody else was doing. You know,
a little bit cleaner.
You know, I mean, Sean Miller, it was reported, was paying DeAndre Ayton $10,000 a month out of his own account, out of his own personal account at Arizona. You know, I mean, now that this stuff's coming to light, I mean, he was doing the same thing Sean Miller was doing. You know, I mean, I just think that he was playing the game the way he thought the game was supposed to be played, and he got burnt. You know?
But when you say he's playing it the same way that Sean Miller played it, like, what's the difference? If Sean Miller is still able to coach, if Bruce Pearl is still able to coach, what was the hang up? Like, if you have Sean Miller's personal bank account going to a player, to DeAndre Ayton, what's the difference? Like, why does this
Well, they
matter?
fired Sean Miller.
Right, I know, but I'm saying, but he's going to be able to coach again. But is that what it is? It's just being able to have the personal bank account tied to you? Like, all you need is a go-between.
Yes. I mean,
how did you not learn from that?
First and foremost, I'm not here to, like, write the blueprint and tell you, but I mean, it's very easy to cheat in college basketball.
Yeah, a shoe company.
But just, I mean, if it's not a shoe company, it's a marketing rep. If it's not a marketing rep, it's a runner for an agent. If it's not a runner for an agent, it's a cousin. If it's not a cousin, it's a go-between. Whatever the hell it is, you find somebody in between And look, I'm not condoning, but I mean, the way that this was done was just very sloppy. I mean, it was done in a world that it looked like nobody thought was being governed. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like, hey, nobody's watching, paying for my own account. Talk to him on this phone, right? I mean, CJ, Jordy's really searching right now and trying to deflect from Will Wade. Come on, Jordy, the tape was enough and it was too much. Now you were in denial. I mean, okay, I guess, but when I heard the tape and he got past the wiretap, I thought if you get past that, right? Like if you get past that wiretap and you coach 3 more years and you're putting guys into the league and then NIL is instituted into college sports and they're paying people now, are you really going to get caught up in shit that was happening 2-3 years ago under a different system that everybody was really playing under? And come to find out, they had a hard one to get Will Wade, and they got him. They got him. They got him dead to rights. They got evidence. They've proven it. And, last week my stance was if they get Will Wade on strictly basketball stuff, because more stuff has popped to light since the first time we heard stuff about it, then I'll be surprised that news was new. And I'm shocked. I really am. I'm shocked nobody had reported or knew that there was stuff like personal bank accounts tied to players that was going to be reported in that notice of allegations, that wasn't leaked out somewhere by the NCAA or somebody who had an invested interest in that to get that side of the story out. Because, if nothing else, I think Will Wade had very much public sentiment in his favor, especially through his own fan base. I've talked to many people out there today that feel burned by Wade. After reading some of those reports, people who were slamming their fists down on dinner tables and taking up for him at engagement parties and talking about how much they loved LSU to everybody around because they really thought that Wade was going to be able to kind of get past this and stay entrenched in this job for a long time and build LSU into a winner consistently. I think a lot of people are let down, hurt. It's a hell of a day. It's a day that I think, will always be remembered in the history of LSU athletics. Not just because of the loss of Will Wade, but just, LSU has their backs up against the wall by the NCAA right now. Their athletic administration and athletic office right now is staring down the barrel of some pretty harsh shit from the NCAA. Lack of institutional control, that's as bad as it gets. And both programs were hit on that. There's a bigger picture here as far as like the concern level and what it should be. The Wade stuff immediately is the stuff that we react to in the now because that's what we can feel, touch. It's gone. The LSU basketball program, as you knew it this morning, as you knew it yesterday, as you knew it a year ago, as you knew it and falling in love with
next year.
General Wade next year. It's gone.
Over.
It's over. And that's what's happening immediately. But on the horizon, you've still got stuff coming out that's got to be ruled upon on LSU football breaking rules and LSU basketball breaking rules and it being titled and levied from the NCAA as lack of institutional control. I don't know what the play is. I don't know if you play it like Kansas and you just say, no, we're not doing it. We're not giving it up. Or if you're so guilty that you don't have a choice. So, look, I'm keeping it as real as possible with as real. This is as real as I feel, man. I'm telling you. I think it sucks that Wade's gone. I hate the fact that he's fired and that he can't lead the LSU basketball program anymore. I don't think that you're going to find somebody as passionate and as much in love with it as Wade was. Will you find a better coach? Maybe.
No.
Will you find a guy that can recruit like he did? Doubtful. Will you find somebody who was passionate and loved it like he did? I know for a fact you won't. Just because he was so married to it. And that's why a guy who never played the game, who really put off that demeanor You know, he's a friend of mine. I can say it. His physique doesn't look like a basketball player. Some of the stuff he says, some of the ways he carries himself is not the way to endear yourself to 18 to 21-year-old basketball players. And he was able to do that at an incredible level because you know why? Because they saw that this cat will do anything in the world to help us win. And he's married to the game. And he's married to making us have a great experience here. Adam Miller tweeted out when the news hit, this is worse than 10 ACL injuries. Because Adam Miller's at LSU because of Will Wade. He told us that on this show. You can reference the interview. I mean, Wade and Miller watched NBA Finals games together on Zoom. And Wade was telling Miller how he was going to use him comparatively to guys' games that they were watching on the finals. Drew Holiday, and how him and Tari Eason could run pick and roll like Drew Holiday and Giannis, and how Drew was really becoming an aggressive scorer, and how Adam Miller could do that in the offense. All right, coach, I'm coming to LSU.
And how defense can turn to offense, and how you could be the Cam Thomas of what we just had. You could be a lottery pick. He did it not the right way, but his intentions were good. He wanted to grow a program, and he came into LSU with a program that was on life support and grew it from the ground up. And that's what I respect the most about Will Wade. Was it the right way to do it? Some would say no. But is it the only way to do it? Yes. Because you can't compete. LSU basketball has been 6 feet under until Will Wade came here.
Oh, it was a forgotten product.
And he made it important. He made it trend on Tiger Tropics. He made you care because it was so close to being good. And that's the only way to do it. Was he a little sloppy? Maybe. But this is how you build a program in college athletics. Whether you right, wrong, or indifferent, this is the only way to do it in college football or college athletics. Like, this is not different than Bill Self. This is not different than Coach K. But it's just the fact that it was a little sloppy and he tried to do too much too fast.
Craig Dugas, Will Wade made the program better. I cared for LSU basketball more than I ever had in my life. Unlike Shrimp Boat Captain, who turned the LSU football program into a circus show. Eddie O, it is what it is. The Pirate LSU brand ain't going anywhere. I don't know why you choose to be a hater. The Pirate, Jordy, you got played by Wade. Garrett Gajor, the fan base are ready to hang Woodward. Look, let me say this about Scott Woodward, and I think everybody needs to understand this. Scott Woodward is always looking out for the best of LSU. And still here today after Wade's been fired and the news is broke and everything is out there and all of the emotion is running rampant and everybody is pissed off, I still trust in Scott Woodward. And I think you still have to believe in Scott Woodward because his best interest or LSU's best interest are always being served with him leading the athletics department. And I believe that wholeheartedly. And I also believe that he wanted Will Wade to be the LSU head basketball coach. He loved the way that Wade approached the game and recruiting and getting players. But just like William Tate and Woodward said today in their joint statement, I think it just became too much. When you looked at the overall allegations and then some of the proof that was put forward today and that they put to the public and allowed us to read, I mean, if you're in those positions of power and it's your responsibility to protect a brand, protect an institution, and protect an athletic department, I love Will Wade. He's a really good friend to me and has been. But from a professional standpoint, if, those facts are presented and it's Scott Woodward and LSU sitting on one side and Will Wade and LSU basketball sitting on the other, I mean, it's easy. You can't operate with this type of stuff going on if your objective and role is to protect the institution and the brand. I get it. I would have stuck with Wade. I'd have fought with him, but I'm not in that position because I would have been too emotional there. Right? I mean, the only play that LSU had, in my opinion, because of what they're facing is to make a move like they did today. The ousting of Wade is sure of because of his actions, but from LSU's standpoint, they knew what he was doing for the last 4 years. They knew all this. I don't think that this stuff is as big a surprise to them as it is us. But one thing that they also have to do is that they have to show in good faith to the NCAA that they're taking the necessary steps to clean it up. So, that choice today, because I guess that the NCAA still has the power to come down and levy some type of sanction or punishment against your program. I mean, if they can come down and extend these notice of allegations and you take them this serious where, there's a cause of reaction, then there also must be some type of concern of what else could be next as far as the punishment goes. And I mean, if you're looking at lack of institutional control in your two major sports on campus, two of the biggest money makers that you have on campus, the two biggest money makers on campus. I mean,
I would say not even on campus. LSU football is the lifeblood of Baton Rouge.
Maybe Louisiana. It's a hell of a day, man. Chuck Garrard, Scott Woodward wants his own guy, and this is a way to get him in. Possibly. I don't think that this is the way you want to get him in, though. You don't want to be staring level 1 sanctions, down that barrel. But there could be something to be saying that.
Ole Miss got hit with lack of institutional control with Hugh Freeze. It didn't really harbor their football program. And that's the one that got charged. This is beatable in terms of we're not dead in the water if you're an LSU fan.
No, not by any means.
But I feel like some people feel that way.
Dude, today's a bad day. We're in the moment.
This is
you're staring into the sun right now. You're in the fire, right? I mean, the news has just hit. But look, I think that the relationship between Scott Woodward and Mark Emmert really is going to be tested right now. How much political power do you have, Scott Woodward, within the NCAA office to try and limit what else is coming down for LSU?
Back to Napa we go.
Absolutely. Another party, shall we?
On me.
Yes. Let's fly first class. Jay Bouge, the timing sucks for the players. I agree. Eddie Gutierrez, don't forget about the Title IX debacle. Roy Hill, that's what's pathetic. LSU's back's against the ball when Auburn, Duke, Kansas, and NC State's isn't. It's like the NCAA is Putin and LSU is Ukraine.
Well, that's the thing. Is why does this? They will never go after a blue blood. North Carolina made fake classes for their basketball team and nothing happened.
Brandon Hollingsworth, I don't give a damn what the NCAA does. I would have given them an inch. Jimbo Gravois said coaches can go other players can go other players, admins can leave. The only players who can't leave are the fans. Those are the ones that keep getting burned.
But you never would have cared if he wasn't here.
Elliot Laughlin, Jordy, will they stop talking about a new arena? Have you met Kim Mulkey? No, they will not.
Can she coach both?
Great question. Ryan Thibodeau, Wade is not bigger than the program. He put the program at risk. That's what LSU's statement said today. It became too much.
He was trying to do the right thing.
He was. He absolutely was. His heart is in the right place. I really believe that. I don't think that Wade ever set sail in trying to burn LSU. What Wade wanted to do is that he wanted to turn LSU into a national championship contender quick. And he wanted to do it with players, and he wanted to do it with the ways that he saw everybody getting players in the sport. And, if the NCAA wanted to crack down and find every school and find a chink in their armor in the way that they're cheating, they could crawl up their ass and they could find it. They crawled up LSU's ass and they found everything that Will Wade was doing, and he was being very sloppy with it. Now they have it as evidence and proof against the notice of allegations. And as soon as LSU opened those up and saw what it had become, maybe they didn't learn that then. Maybe it was just official when that notice of allegations arrived at their doorstep, but it was time to make a move. And, I mean, the timing of it, to me, says exactly that, is that we could wait a week. What's the likelihood that LSU basketball gets out of next weekend's tournament? 60-40, they get bounced next week, right? I mean, just in the seeding. Is it worth that from LSU's administrative standpoint? Looking at the notice of allegations and now the evidence proven by the NCAA, do you sit on that?
What do you gain by doing it now?
You show the NCAA
for football
in good faith for both. You don't want to get hit with lack of institutional control in any of these, in any athletic space, square.
It's already been levied.
Yeah, but the punishment hasn't.
I know, but you've been charged, so they're not going to tread lightly. Once
Coach, if they got a level 1 violation, 5 of them today on Wade.
8.
5 of them on Wade.
I know, but 3
and they kept him today and said, you know what? Thank you. We see it. Maybe that's the play, but maybe they're behind the office. They're saying, we're not Kansas. He's not Bill Self. They're not going to let up until we run him. And now we're looking at lack of institutional control. Look, man, I agree with you. I wish they would have, but you also have to look at it from LSU's standpoint, where their statement's telling you that. That's what their statement's saying, is that for 4 years, they've had his back.
I'm with you.
They've been in. And it's been whatever. It's always been riding with Wade. And then they hit us with the notice of allegations, and you opened up and you saw the evidence, and you were like, fuck. I mean,
it's because football's tied in.
Yes, it definitely is. I mean, the golden goose is in there, and I do believe that there is
all that shit is bullshit.
I do believe that there is a contingent in Indianapolis that says to somebody at LSU, get him, and we will relieve you. And if you hear that as an administrator at LSU, and you know that the football program is up for debate or up for penalty, and you can help yourself in a program that makes hundreds of millions of dollars, bro. I mean, all those new. Look who's playing devil's advocate. Will Wade's biggest fan. I get it. I understand it. But you also have to look at that statement. To me, opens up the eyes of just kind of where they are. You know what I mean? Like, we want to support him. We have been backing him. It just got to a point where it's like, hey, man, we can't continue to put the brand through this. We can't continue to put the LSU basketball program through this. It's just bigger than that. And from somebody who, look, dude, he's my friend. I love the guy. But in somebody who's building a business and understands brand protection, at what point do you say, I love you? I'll always love you, bro. I'll always have your back, and I'll always appreciate what you did. But from their standpoint, it's like, hey, the governing body says if we remove you, then we relieve ourselves. And the university is bigger than all of us.
But it makes me ask the question, what difference does it make if LSU football is involved? Because you don't have to listen to them anyway. Like, that was just a bargaining chip that they threw out there. And it goes back to the Oklahoma State coach when they said never comply.
Yeah.
Like, this
it doesn't sound like LSU complied.
No, but I'm saying,
I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, it doesn't sound like LSU burned themselves.
I understand that. But they put a chip out there that was so scary to LSU, but it's still the same thing. They're saying it's just like when you hey, if you help us, we'll help you. They're not going to do that. They've never done that in the history of the NCAA. But LSU kowtowed because you went after the golden goose whenever you could have not. Like, you could have kept bucking the system, and every time the system has been bucked against the NCAA, it's worked. This is the one thing that scared LSU was football. But they have no real power until you let them have power. And because of this, and because LSU football was tied to it, they finally gave in for no real reason. They just don't have evidence. They don't have anything. You don't have to agree to it. Like, that's the entire basis of bucking the system, of bucking the NCAA, because they have no real power. Like we've said for 6 months, for 2 years, 4 years with Will Wade. They don't have power until you give it to them. And LSU caved and gave it to them. I understand how important LSU football is. I love LSU football more than I like LSU basketball. But the principle of it all is fucked. Like, you gave in for something that you're trying to protect that they're still going to go get anyway. They always do it. You open the door and they're kicked it in.
Jeff Goodman.
John Goodman.
Has a statement, though. Jeff Goodman, who covers basketball at Goodman Hoops on Twitter, has a statement from one source close to the LSU program on the next head coach stated, "The issue will be what the future sanctions will be for the program. I think they would need an experienced coach who can deal with the pressure and also who can hold their own with Kim Mulkey. She's got a huge ego," is the quote from Jeff Goodman. I mean, say what? You think the next head coach is going to have to deal with the ego of Kim Mulkey? I mean, if anything, Mulkey is an advantage for a men's basketball coach. She can get funds for you. She can get things done around the athletic program. And she's not trying to steal any shine. The only thing she's going to put pressure on you to do is win, because she's going to be winning. But as far as working together and pulling in the same direction, I think that Mulkey is an advantage to the next head coach. And look, a couple of people are asking for names, and
Hayes Myers.
I think that there's a couple of ways to look at the LSU job next, right? That I believe you have to look at it in either two prisms. That you're either taking a job that's going to be under sanction and penalty, and it's going to take a task to get it back up and moving. Remember, John Brady took the job while it was on probation, and 2 years later had the program in the Sweet 16 and SEC champs. So it can be done. Or you can look at it in the sense of you'll have the security, because first off, money's not the issue with Woodward. One thing is apparent is that Woodward was able to, get together a war chest before he got the job, because money is not a issue in the Woodward regime early on, especially in these coaching searches. He is going to be able to find, pay, and attract anybody who makes sense. To me, the alpha in this whole deal, and Scott Woodward, we know, is a huge game hunter, right? If you read up on some of the stuff, and this is a grand slam, just Hail Mary, dream in the night type guy. To me, I've heard the way that Woodward does his coaching searches from somebody that's been a part is he tiers them, right? Like he tiers them in a class of, like, Brian Kelly would be the A class of it. Then you would have, kind of like that Jay Johnson tier that you may not have. I would say that the standard would be Kim Mulkey, Brian Kelly, Jay Johnson, right? Where you've got the Hall of Famer. You've got the must pay. Like, you're going to get Mulkey, you have to pay her $3 million. You want Brian Kelly, you have to pay him for 10 years. You want Jay Johnson, give him the opportunity. Right? Like, it's tiers. And to me, the tiers would be the Kim Mulkey of this group would be go get Brad Stevens from the Boston Celtics. If you've read up on Stevens loves, obviously, just to kind of like coaching the game. The players ran him out of Boston. Didn't run him out of Boston, ran him off the sideline because he held them to accountable. You know what I mean? Like, he was just he just coached him up. And they wanted him out because it was just, they didn't agree with it. So they removed him. And now he's an executive within the Celtics. And maybe that's just too much of a job that he can't leave. I mean, that's a hell of a business card to hand out at a lunch. President of the Boston Celtics, or whatever his administrative role. Let me double check that on Stevens. But, an executive with the Boston Celtics. It's a good gig. But maybe he wants and is lured back. He seems like a college coach, right? John Beilein got into some trouble with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's a little old, but he's won everywhere he's been. He's a really good coach. Maybe, he's not in that that Brad Stevens tier, but he's the same type of guy. He left the Michigan job, took the Cleveland Cavaliers job. He didn't vibe with the locker room. He went somewhere. Now he's working in the Detroit Pistons front office. But those
Brad
are guys
Stevens,
that
president
has
of basketball operations,
president of
huge
basketball
job.
ops at the Boston Celtics.
He's never leaving that. I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah, never's a never. Scott Woodward's done some things that'll make you say, never doesn't exist. But it is a Hail Mary. Right? I mean, it's fourth
It's a call.
It's 4th and 10 from the, we got to score. We got to score here, right? We got to put it in.
Dash right 93 Berlin.
Yes, possibly. Devery Henderson's in the game. We could get behind
Jack
the defense. We could get behind the defense. Maybe throw one up, Marcus. If he throws and tries for the Hail Mary, Brad Stevens to me would be the alpha, right? Here's the deal on this next hire, right? Like I've heard people like bring up like I would love Kelvin Sampson at Houston. But I think that like a lot like, the kind of the reputation now of LSU basketball and
just
what it
LSU
is.
in general is awesome.
Right? Of just what LSU is I think what Scott Woodward is trying to clean up and get away from.
Bad boys of the SEC.
But you bring Kelvin Sampson, Sampson's a hell of a coach, recruits at a high level, but he's got some marks on his, he's got some marks on his.
He's running too.
On his resume where, you know what I mean? Like he's done a lot of shady shit in college basketball. So, I mean, here's the deal though. And like we've talked about, and let's go through the tiers. So Kim Mulkey to me would be the Brad
right
Stevens.
now.
Brad Stevens to me would be the Kim Mulkey of this, you know what I mean? Like wow, holy shit. You know what I mean? You got Brad Stevens.
Bases empty grand slam.
Yes. To me, like the Jay Johnson of this would be Porter Moser at Oklahoma. I fucking love that guy. Loyola Chicago, if you've seen them the past couple of years, they are well coached. They play really tough defense. And I think where the SEC is in basketball now, and now Oklahoma's coming in. He's at Oklahoma year one. You know what I mean? I think that from Oklahoma to LSU's basketball jobs, LSU's a bigger job than Oklahoma's basketball job. Am I off on that? I mean, I'm just can I get out of the forest here? Am I not seeing it? But I think that LSU's a bigger job than Oklahoma. It's probably going to pay more.
That's what I was going to say next. I feel like where the SEC is with college basketball, all of these jobs are probably a hot commodity. It depends on what is levied against LSU and the show cause and like recruiting violations and restrictions. That is a matter of would you take the job or not. Because what's the difference between Auburn and LSU? Before Bruce Pearl got there, Auburn stunk. Like there was no reason for Bruce Pearl to go there, but he needed a job. That's the issue. Is LSU going to be so hamstrung for how long?
No, it's fair. It's fair, and that's why I said it's a couple of ways to look at this.
Because go get a big dog, but they're not going to take it. Brad Stevens won't take the job if you can't recruit.
Brian Trudeau, Donnie T. Sampson is 66 years old. Maybe experience is something that they're going to need here in the next one.
John Brady?
Right? No, Brady. It's sailed. I wish they'd hired him as a top assistant, though. But look, I would go. Porter Moser to me is solid. I mean, took Loyola Chicago to the Final Four in 2018. Loyola Chicago was constantly competitive while he was there. Now, I haven't paid a lot of attention to him at Oklahoma this year, but I always remember watching his teams and thinking, damn, that guy's got a good, well-coached group. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a really well-coached team. Chris Beard at Texas, to me, I don't think he leaves Texas.
He can't leave twice.
No, he can't, but he's a hell of a coach.
Baylor coach. He said
Scott Drew?
He said he would leave for other jobs. He said rumored to Georgia. He said he would leave for Georgia maybe.
He said that?
That's what it is rumored by the group text.
So you're telling me that you're giving me official news off of your group text?
Oh, Noah Tingle. He's more plugged in than any of us.
Okay, I thought you meant your friends.
No, our group text.
Okay. He says that, read it.
I'll have to go find it.
Well, yes. Stugatz. Pull it up.
Stugatz is right.
Right.
LSU football hit with show cause. Next. You can't look at your phone while I'm looking at my phone.
Okay, do it.
No, I'm looking at my phone. You do the show.
I don't know other names, man. I really don't. I'm still in a fucking fog. Can't believe we're here.
Is maybe
Like and share, please. Let's get to 600. I'm trying to get to 10,000 followers on YouTube as well. We'll have a big push there.
Subscribers.
Please hit the subscribe button if you have not already done that. We appreciate you being here. Let's get to some of these. Man, my inbox, bro, of the I told you so.
Imagine.
It's brutal, bro. It's brutal.
You weren't wrong, though.
It's brutal. Ronnie Kraft, Wade sucked. PP, Brady took the job in 96, didn't get 16. Didn't get to the Sweet 16 until the fourth year. That's not true at all. It's not true.
If anybody knows John Brady history, it's you.
It's not true.
Stayed in my condo.
What a shitty day, man. What a shitty day.
Jim Calhoun?
Jim Calhoun? Is he alive?
I mean, Rick Pitino. Why not? If we're gonna double down,
Go
let's
road,
double
bro.
down.
Why not?
You thought?
See,
you thought I was a show, or I'm a grower.
See, to me, Pitino would be more like if I was Georgia, I'd hire Pitino. Like we hadn't been relevant in 40 years. You want to be relevant and sell tickets? Hire Pitino. You'll be back overnight. That guy will have you relevant overnight.
What?
A guy like Scott Drew, depending on what the fallout is.
But that's the thing that LSU is fighting the same battle is LSU basketball wasn't relevant forever. And if you can get somebody in here that if that's what you're fighting for, I don't think that Woodward would do that because he needs a squeaky clean hire. He needs a Brian Kelly where it's like everything is good. We're all above board here. I'm running the ship the way that it should be run, the right way. But Pitino would be an absolute cannonball.
Oh, my God. It can't happen.
It would be.
I mean, if they can't hire Kelvin Sampson, they're never going to hire Rick Pitino. I hear you. No, I'm with you. PP, haha, why would Brad Stevens want to come to LSU? That's the most laughable thing I've ever heard. The phone might get hung up before even Woody got patched through. That's why I said it was a dream, PP. It's a Hail Mary, bro. Chill out. Brandon Hollingsworth, unless they bring in the absolute hammer down on LSU basketball, Wade is still leaving the program in a better spot than Johnny Jones or Trent Johnson left it. Well, he has shown what the program can be and brought it to life. I agree. Here. Pour one out for Will Wade today.
Absolutely.
Boot up for life.
Moment of silence for Will Wade.
Please. Welcome back. Chase 21, hire Shaq for coach. I'm in.
Tyrann Mathieu?
Why not? Hooper.
Matt
Everett
sucks.
Come on, Jordy. I don't know. What are you talking about, Matt? Catch me up. I'll read it. Just tell me what you're talking about. I hear you, bro.
Call in.
Sampson is 66 years old. I know I heard you the first time, Tommy. David Ledbetter. Wed said Kent Lowe stole his cell phone. Probably the doctor. I hope the doctor didn't get caught up in this. Tom Granning. No way, huh? No way. From Tom Granning. From Clay Travis. So LSU waited until it was legal to pay players to fire Will Wade. Makes 0 sense to do it now.
Backdated.
Fair. PP, sorry, Brady. It took Brady 3 years. First was 97, 98, and he made the 16 in 2000. It was his third season. Told you were wrong, PP. No on Pitino. Sampson, maybe. They're not going to hire either of them. Hiring Pitino would allow Dickie V to love LSU again. Reason number 1, why not to hire him? Golly, Dickie V would love LSU if they hired Pitino. Going from Wade to Pitino. I'm all in, bro.
You want to know the speed limit?
Let's go 30 over.
Now I'm hopping on the Autobahn.
All right. Like and share.
Kill me.
How about Gonzaga's coach? He better not leave that job. Good Lord. Why the hell would you ever leave that gig? Tucked up there in the Northwest. Nobody's paying attention to you. All you're doing is playing and winning natties.
And cheating.
Sure. Jay Booge, Jordy, what does Wade do for a next career? What are his options?
NBA.
Yeah, get to the NBA.
What do you think Brad Stevens left?
Yeah, but Brad Stevens didn't have to leave.
Oh.
I mean, the money came and got him.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, what else could he? What else could he accomplish in college basketball besides winning it? I mean, I know he had to back it back.
If Creighton is playing $150,000 for players, what do you think Butler was doing?
Cheating.
Right.
Cheating, for sure.
Yeah, get me out of here.
Cheating, for sure. But it wasn't coming out of Stevens' joint account with his wife to the players. Very sloppy.
No, he did the Peyton Manning playbook. The Roger Clemens playbook.
Just do it too close and they're not going to pay attention?
It's not me. It's her.
The wifey.
Would you If you were married,
Eddie O been pounding shots for Will Wade. I agree.
Would you let your wife go to jail for you?
to protect the program?
Yes, absolutely. It's bigger than you.
I mean, if it was Julian Phillips and Traore coming in next year, I mean, could you just do a year, babe? Could you just do a year?
The women's penitentiary can't be as bad as the men's.
I mean, we could get you isolation.
Orange is the new black.
We could get you a little Jesse Smollett.
Love
just a
purple,
little
live gold.
isolated
time.
Absolutely.
I would for him. I would get arrested for a way today. Yeah. And just, I was a phone call away.
He just didn't know. Chili, Nate Oates is cheating, if we're being honest. We are being honest, Chili, and damn right he's cheating. You know why? Because he's fucking winning. That's how you win in college basketball. Everybody who's relevant in college basketball, like Lloyd just said, you know who's off the table in LSU's next coaching search? Doug McDermott. You know why? Because he's been cheating at Creighton. They busted him for giving $100,000 to a Creighton player. I mean,
Dougie Buckets.
Kevin Harrell, Dale Brown is Will Wade. Will Wade is Dale Brown. Brian T.
Get the court named after him?
They should. Brian T. Everyone cheats. They just aren't as sloppy as Wade.
He was a little sloppy.
Wade.
That's what's disappointing.
Very sloppy.
For
Very
being
sloppy.
as smart as he is.
Very sloppy. Very sloppy.
We'll have him on.
Very sloppy. Very sloppy.
What do you think he's doing right now?
Sulking, girl. He's a terrible day in his world, man. I mean, the guy loves college basketball. He loves LSU. He loves what they were building. He loves what the future looked like. He loved what next year's team. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of people that were pulling in his direction. There are a lot of people that supported him. I'd imagine that he feels like he let a ton of people down today. A lot of guilt. A lot of angst. A lot of sadness. A lot of anger. You know what I mean? A lot of...
It's not my fault.
To be. Some, I'm sure.
This is the way.
Yeah. I don't know how the next guy could do any better without having to do it this way.
It's the only way to do it. So what's the...
But I mean, it's legal now.
Right. So, but that's what... So you can't bring him back, obviously. But if you could, and now it's all legal, Will Wade's the guy. He's number one on a lot of lists. If all things considered, this never happened. Like, he was just a coaching free agency. If his contract was just up and this never happened, a lot of teams would go to bat for him and try to hire him.
If his show calls is a year, he'll be back on a sideline in a year.
In a year.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
How long do you think the show calls would be?
3 to 5.
That's tough.
Tommy Granning, I'm hitting the maker's mark in the splash of water. Headed to a wedding. And then heading to Gatlinburg in the morning. But I'm depressed.
Go Mark.
We are too, Tommy. Head to Go Mark. Chili. Nate Oates comes right into Alabama and starts grabbing 5 stars. Hell no. Yeah, Chili, you're proving our point, bro. Everybody's cheating.
Why do you think he hates Will Wade? Because he got Trent Watford from Alabama.
Yeah, that's how it started.
This hurts.
Yeah,
it's like a breakup.
It hurts. It hurts. Lucas Hopkins, Jordy, you called it. LSU would give up its pound of flesh if it meant Will Wade.
Yeah.
I'm not as for sure as that was the theory. I was banking on the theory that they were going to cover LSU football. I mean, if the allegations on LSU football is the Funes and the Our Lady of the Lake stuff, I mean, we've talked about that. That's been talked about. And then the Odell Beckham stuff. He gave the money back. I mean, it was really just nothing than a theater act there down on the field. I mean, he got all the cash back, and he was giving it to Justin Jefferson, who might have more in the bank today than Beckham does. That's not right. That's not true. But he's on his way.
Depends on who had
He's on his way. He's on his way. I don't know. I mean, but Beckham's already signed a $100 million deal.
With the Rams?
No, with Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
No, actually with New York. And then Cleveland dealt him after the big deal.
And he got those incentives.
Yeah. And he's signed by Nike, got his own shoe deal. I mean, Justin Jefferson's on his way, but I mean, Odell's got more in the bank account than... Who gives a fuck? He got the money back. I mean, like, who cares? I mean, if that's all that they're talking about with LSU football, and now in today's world they're paying players, what else is it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So why kowtow now? Because that's what I'm saying. That was my whole point of this conversation is why would you be afraid now if the whole blueprint is set out for you? Bill Self is still coaching with, 5 level 1 violations? The biggest thing you can levy against a college basketball program, a college program in general. And now LSU wants to just be like, okay, actually, we're giving them up. It's shocking.
Rodney Kraft, you guys are too dramatic. You have bigger issues in life than a sad day. You can play along, Rodney. Jesus. Kerry Hughes, do you think Woodward feels like y'all as well today? I do. I think he knows he let go of a winner. He knows he had to sacrifice a winning program. And look, make no mistake about it. I think Scott Woodward, at the end of the day, he wants to win. And, Will Wade was winning.
If Will Wade was not the head coach of LSU and this never happened and he was a coach at somewhere else, Scott Woodward would go get Will Wade. That would be the hire.
Sure. I agree. I think the only coach that wasn't cheating is Tom Crean. What was his record?
Fired.
Ofer. Brian T. He'll be an NBA assistant for a few years. That'll get him back on his feet.
Brooklyn.
Yeah. Why not? Portland.
Boston.
Milwaukee.
Where's he from?
Nashville.
Memphis.
Ja.
Another dagger for Louisiana.
Tommy Granning, I'm worried about football.
You go. Not only did the Pelicans miss on Zion, they have Ja, and then they have Will Wade on the same staff. That's what time? A death by 1,000 paper cuts. Hire him tomorrow.
Tommy G says he's worried about football. It sounds like LSU's administration is too.
What was the Vidal thing? Are you okay to speak about that?
They were funneling $180,000 to Vidal Alexander's job, which they called a no-show job. But people that I talked to at LSU said that he was doing janitorial services and was there. I mean, it was over a 4-year period. $180,000. It's 4 times 180. Lloyd, on your feet.
4 times 3.
No. Divided by. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. On your feet.
6.
He's making 60 a year.
180 divided by 4. This is tough for some reason.
Well, you're stoned.
No, sober.
Lloyd.
Do gummies count?
Don't lie. 180 divided by 4. Is that it? 180 divided by 4?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, $45,000 a year.
That's what I said.
I mean, it's a janitor. And he was making janitorial services. I mean, he was making...
You're telling me I could be a janitor?
Yeah.
45 grand?
Our Lady of the Lake.
What am I doing here?
Well, I mean, a lot of rooms to clean, buddy.
Place smells great.
David Noel, 985. Wes Miller is the coach I want from Greensboro, North Carolina.
I hate this. What are we doing? Where do you go?
Jordy, what do you think of all of Joe Oliva's hires now? Terrible. I still think. I mean, look at what's happening to the athletic program. While Joe Oliva was here.
Doesn't make Joe Oliva right whenever he said, "Oh, that was the worst hire I could have made. That was the best hire he's ever made in his career."
He didn't like. He said that because
spite.
Oliva's ego. I mean, he hated somebody getting more attention. Do you think he's
laughing today?
Yeah, absolutely is. And he probably thinks that he was just like gives him some types of clearance.
Validation.
Hey, Joe, you were still shitty at your job. Really shitty at your job.
Still shitty.
Still shitty at your job. Go Tigers 74 LSU Sports. Always interesting events. Jason Phillips. Lloyd does look high as fuck. It's because he is. Rodney Kraft. Wait till Woodward has to raise ticket prices next week. Oof, golly, dude. Tough seat to sit in right now for Woodward. Tough seat right now. I mean, follow up that letter about Will Wade being canned by saying we're going to throw in a couple of thousand to your tradition fund. After you're paying $4.19 a gallon for gas, I passed up this morning in Zachary.
And you're eating Amark food.
Ingus.
No, I'm talking about at the concession stands.
Oh.
Not good.
Thank you. I should upgrade to Ingus.
Well, you had Ingus yesterday.
And today.
Double dipped?
Double dipped. Walked into Chimes in between the basketball games for a 35-minute wait.
And?
Just walked over to Ingus, Coach.
Yep. It's right there.
Easy trip down Chimes.
I do miss the varsity.
State Street. I do miss the varsity, too. I miss the varsity. Tonight would be a good night just to go to the varsity and just wash down in the sorrows, bro.
Whenever this news came
Good
down,
house party tonight would help somebody out. Anybody throwing a house party out there that we can crash?
Night.
You had a house party and didn't invite us?
No, well, what are you going to do? You want to come? You could.
To a house party?
That was so much fun.
Bro, the best.
Left at 4 a.m.
4 a.m. night for you, bro, for a house party?
I
Those are the best.
I didn't think we had
Where?
work today. Bailey Kilshaw, Adam Escu, shout out.
Nice.
Did Fajita Fridays. That's our new thing.
I'm in.
They would love you.
Don't let me invite myself, but I'm in.
No, you are in. You
Right.
fit right in, I'm telling you.
I mean, dude, a house party would be great tonight.
You could do it again.
Just a lot of experimenting.
Redux.
Um,
Relapse.
Lucas Hopkins, Jordy, how many have you already had? I think I'm 3 in.
I'm sad.
I am too. Craig Dugas, I'm still going to boot the fuck up for life. Yeah, we are. Man.
I don't know. It's not going to be boot up anymore.
No, it's not.
The whole thing changes. It really...
Frankie Culotta, the Trent Johnson days are here again. No way. No way. Scott Woodward will never let that happen.
I did.
I still believe that Scott Woodward has the best interest of LSU at the forefront of what he is doing.
And I don't think it's a power play by Scott to
No,
get
it's
his
not.
own guy
He did not want to fire
a guy.
Will. He knew he had a guy.
If he wanted him out, he would have fired him when he got here. He would have Edo'd him. The hype video sucks. Get out of here.
Which one?
Isn't that what happened? After when the walls were closing in on O, he started banging on the hype video. And he's like, Coach, we got bigger fish to fry. We're like losing football games.
The Kentucky game. He knew he was canned.
Yeah, so you know what I'm going to bitch about? The hype video stinks. That's why we lose. How about you call it timeout?
Garrett Gajor, Jordy, I'm a Chimes State Street resident. Wow,
Chimes.
Garrett, you should have the house party tonight, bro. What's your address? We'll be there. Ingus, Chimes, and Louis are the best. Great hood, bro. You live in a great hood, especially on a day like today.
Got pulled over at Louis once.
Nola P would love to see what Mulkey could do with the men's job. Just promote her to hire. And I tell you what, man, it's probably going to be discussed.
Would she be the first women's head basketball coach in men's basketball history?
I don't know.
Becky Hammond for NBA is not a head coach, but the first
Should
one
be.
to coach she coached the summer league team. There's no way Kim Mulkey would fail. That message resonates no matter what gender. Right? Did we watch some of her highlights from Tech?
She's a dog.
She's a baller.
She's a dog. I mean, the highlight of her and Kramer throwing the ball in the outfield at the box alone shows you what type of athlete she is.
Sexual.
I mean, just kind of the way she's like, oh,
Easy.
bro, she looks like a pro
Looks
shortstop.
like a shortstop.
Yeah, I mean, like she looks like a Major League Baseball pro shortstop.
Dude,
Patrick Dorsey, Jordy, we need Will Wade Wednesday.
Give him some time.
Yeah.
Let him grieve. But she took a charge against Cheryl Miller.
USC?
And she was giving the sign going down.
No.
Yeah, and she was like, oh! But she's taking the charge and she goes down telling the official what to do. It's like, she's going to be a coach. She's awesome.
Yeah. Apollo Balboa, 1985. Man, Jordy, you defended this guy the whole time.
I still do.
I know. I'd do it again.
Best sex I've ever had.
It's great. Boot up.
Boot up.
Stay up.
Still am.
Stay up on boot up.
Boot up's dead. I'll get it tattooed.
Jake Nola, Jordan, please try your best to be the first to have Wade on your show.
Absolutely.
We'll see, man.
He's not going anywhere else.
He knows he's got a safe place here. But I do think that it would be best for Will Wade to sit down and answer the hard questions. You know, just put it out there, man. You know, let people, whoever's going to hire you next, know, you know, where you stand, how you answer the questions, what you believe is next for LSU. Golly, look at that. The good old days right there. Golly.
Support from day one. My dog.
Dude, that hits in the heart.
I can't believe it. This is the first coach that's left LSU that I actually gave a fuck about. Nick Saban, I was too young. I knew it was a big deal. I remember the day he left. It was my uncle's birthday. And we were like, there's no way this is going to happen. And then he did. Easy like Sunday morning is what we played.
Kerry Hughes, everybody get your boot ups. Everybody get your boot up t-shirts over at Red Stick Sports. Go see Cody. Tell him hello. Another cheers to everybody out there. I'm sure you're drinking somewhere. Look at the general. Golly. Salute.
Salute.
Son of a bitch.
Bitch.
Golly, bro. Poor little out for Wade.
Always.
Damn, bro.
Hardest you've been hit by coaching?
Without question. I'm trying to think of a comp.
Nick Saban was not the same thing.
Yeah, but you know what? I wasn't as invested.
Right. We're in bed.
I didn't. You know what? You didn't know
until you knew.
Yeah.
And I still don't.
You know when I knew is when 2 years later, when you realized how big of a goofball Miles was and how great you had it with Saban and that he was going back to coach at Alabama and how screwed you were.
That's what terrifies me about right now.
Yeah, that Wade could end up like it.
I'm a scorned lover.
Ole Miss. Wade feels like Ole Miss.
He wouldn't do that to us.
The fuck he wouldn't.
Clemson.
You out of your mind.
Right? Isn't that everywhere he's been linked?
Mark Davis Saban, it was Christmas, right? Yeah, it was.
Yeah. It's December 30th, I think.
No, it was Christmas.
It was Christmas Day.
Yeah, it was actually Christmas. Rodney Kraft burning a fatty in Colorado. Damn, that sounds good. Jason Phillips, the 5 stars won't come with the threat of sanctions.
Fuck no.
You're right, Jason Phillips. They're nowhere to be found
This is
anymore.
a total redo.
Ronnie Anderson, NCAA, a bunch of hypocrites. They're the worst, bro.
I can't believe they folded.
Elliot Laughlin, still think about that ULL night game. Reason I drove 2 hours for a basketball game on a Tuesday night. He talked me and my nephew like he really cared about it. He will be missed. I agree. Nola P, yes, this team was looking to be dangerous, but they sure are now because Phillips and Allen may bounce. Yeah, they're gone, bro. Ain't coming here. You kidding me? Rob Boudreaux, all I care about is LSU football. If something happens to them, then I won't be happy. Just go get a great coach for basketball. Jimmy Magoo, mushrooms are on the menu. Send the address.
Excuse me?
Cody Boudreaux with the $50 super chat. My man is back. Wifey must be out of town for the weekend, home alone. Got the lotion out, and he's super chatting. I won't be here to push Dune for the next few weeks. I need some time after today. Now I'm going to have to rename my unborn twin sons, Will and Wade. Goodbye, my general. We barely knew you.
Goodbye, my lover.
Goodbye, Cody. Thank you for the 50, buddy.
Goodbye, my friend.
Jake Nola already emailed the ticket office that I will not be renewing my season tickets. Boot up, Jake.
Do you think they go safe? I was talking with some people inside, I do. My inside sources.
Ooh, hit me, bro. What you got?
That said it has to be squeaky clean.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said
but that means
Kelvin
they stink.
Sampson.
They're going to stink.
I know. But I do believe, thank you, Slattery, for the $50 super chat.
Slat. The first guy in the chat every day.
It is. Shout out to you, Slat. No comment, just a $50 donation to the show.
Love him.
My type of guy, bro.
Lurker.
Nola P, Wade is nowhere near Saban. No, you're right, as far as comparison sakes.
Well, Wade.
39.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Take that.
Saban took the LSU job at 42? I'm going to check me on that,
maybe.
maybe.
45.
Yeah, national champ in 3 years.
God damn it.
Rob Boudreaux, Jordy, did Jordan win his game? Went 2 for 1 today. Went 2-1 today.
How do you play?
Played really good. The team that he played this year, this morning, they're in the focus, especially when things are tunneling down on us. Saw the best 5th grade basketball player in the state play this morning.
Your son?
No. Plays for the Blazers team.
For now.
We have made contact with the father. Nickname Fat Man.
Personal phone?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, time to learn.
Nickname Fat Man, absolutely.
Fats Domino.
And is a total dog. Killer. Made some of the best moves I've ever seen a 5th grader play. We have already rolled out the plan for him at next year's schooling. Could be looking at a quarterback, point guard combo.
Strong-ass offer?
Strong-ass offer. Somebody's got to do it. You know what I mean?
Why didn't he ask you?
I mean, if you're going to fire the general, it's a good question. I'm glad he didn't, because I'd hate to be caught up in the shit that he is.
Would you go to jail for Will Wade?
I would.
6 months?
6 is a long time, bro.
You'd be good in jail.
I don't know about that. I do a
figure
month.
it out.
I would do a month. Would be my limit. 30 days. 30 days.
Oh, that'd be a lot.
Jordan Simpson, this sucks. Phil Wade would have passed Brown if he'd given the time. No doubt he would have.
So Dale Brown did it.
Mark Davis, this isn't close to Saban. Nick left town on his own record. That hurt more. He did, and he left town to say goodbye.
And then wanted to come back the next day.
He did. Robert Miller, LSU gave with the NCAA what they wanted. NCAA wanted Will Wade out of the game. Both football and men's basketball will be okay. New coach will get a 6-year, $5 million and a 1-year postseason ban, 2 to 3 scholarships at the most. Heard it here firsthand. Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, Pat.
Tell you what, Bobby, if that hits, we'll put you on staff here, buddy.
Yeah, cool.
Brandon Hollingsworth just poured me a glass of Woodford. I'm with you, Lloyd. This is the first coach that I've cared about other than Saban.
It really is. This stinks.
Sucks, bro. Jason Phillips, Wade brought excitement back to the boot that we hadn't seen since Glenn Davis. He will be sorely missed by the real fans. Boot up.
Boot up.
Dixie Normus just put in a $20 super chat. Must be Italian, Dixie. Good to hear from you. Happy Saturday. Salute.
I know who you are.
Who is that?
Can't say. Sources.
Paisan?
Who knows?
I love his nickname.
Or her.
Really? David Schultz, Jordy wouldn't make it through lunch in jail. You're right, David. I wouldn't make it to lunch.
Unless we had Osabuco.
I'd sneak in somehow. Pick the cigarette ash out of mine.
Yeah, we needed a shank.
Brandon Hollingsworth, you would have thought having Emmert as president of the NCAA would have been a huge plus for the NCAA, but that clearly has proven not to be the case.
Do you know who won the Heisman in 2008?
2008?
We went, so at the
2008
at the house
was
party.
Patrick Peterson's freshman year.
This is exactly how I did it.
Okay, chill out. Patrick Peterson's freshman year, 2008. Pat Pete, best player in the game, best team in the game
North
was
Carolina.
Alabama, which was their running back, which was Mark Ingram.
No.
I'm wrong.
Did exactly what you did.
So he's 2009. Mark Ingram is.
'Cause he did the
2009.
Alabama A's, remember, and against
Yeah, it's Texas
yep.
in the Rose Bowl. Colt McCoy. Bitch.
which led to their backup.
Garrett Gilbert, who ended up at SMU.
Yeah.
Chili, NCAA is trash. Boot up with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Chili.
We went from 1990 to 2000.
Hang on. It's 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Heisman
That was the
Trophy
only one
winner.
that we missed for the longest time. We went from 1990 to 2021.
Position.
Can't tell you.
Gives it away.
What do you think it was?
Running back?
Think about the years.
I'm thinking about the years.
It took us an hour. And think about what teams are good then is where we landed.
2008. So Alabama came onto the scene in 08. LSU was the team in 07, right? Next year was golly. Next year, who was the team? Was it Ohio State? It was Ohio State. It was the quarterback Craig Krenzel. No, that was on the 2003 team.
That was the Ali Highsmith game.
This was I'm getting close. Am I getting close? Am I getting warm? No.
No, because I did the same thing Troy Smith with 2006.
Troy Smith. It's not Troy Smith. Was it Tebow?
2007.
What the fuck? 2008. Tebow should have won it in 2008.
Should have won back-to-back.
He should have won back-to-back. They didn't want to give it to him, so they kept
Archie
it.
Griffin.
Yes. Robert Griffin III.
Nope. It was 2011 or 2012.
Son of a
Johnny Manziel is one of those two also. You know him.
Am I warm?
No.
At all?
Position-wise.
Quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma. Jason White, not Jason White. The head coach at Tennessee, Josh Heupel, not Josh Heupel. The quarterback at Oklahoma. The quarterback at Oklahoma.
The quarterback at Oklahoma.
Not Baker Mayfield.
2000, no.
God, the quarterback at Oklahoma. The quarterback at Oklahoma. Did he play in the league?
Yes.
He plays in the league. Jason White. Josh Heupel. Who am I fucking forgetting? Say it. I'm pissed off.
No. I'll never tell you. We did this exactly what you're doing, and it was the most frustrating thing in the world because we should know it. We did exactly what you're doing for an hour.
Where's he from?
Oklahoma.
Fucking Sam Bradford.
Yes, sir!
Let's go! Sam Bradford,
the forgotten
dude.
Heisman winner.
Golly.
He's in the class of Jason White. Of like, how? But he got the last Jamarcus
Sam
Russell
Bradford.
deal.
Wow.
He got
the last one, the $50 million deal.
Mm-hmm. He made. Oh God, let me look it up. We looked it up last night. It was like
tons, $200 million.
I was about to say $216 million.
Yeah, I think he made $200+ million, and he might have played 25 games. I mean, he was like a franchise quarterback.
But he passed around. He
went to Washington.
He was the Rams' first overall pick.
Yeah, no doubt. I remember that.
Then he went to God. He bounced around, but the money that he made for nothing really.
So 07 was Tebow. 06 is Troy Smith. 05 is Adrian Peterson should have won it in 05. Was that Reggie Bush? 05 and Reggie Bush. 04
Matt Leinart,
but Adrian Peterson should have won it. That was Adrian Peterson's freshman year.
03 is Jason White.
03 is Jason White. 02 this is the year that LSU should have won the SEC and got beat by Arkansas by their big quarterback who did all the blow.
He didn't win the Heisman though.
No, he was a dog.
He was a dog.
He's a hell of a football player.
Yeah,
I mean a hell of an NFL player. Wide receiver for the Jaguars.
Wide receiver, yeah, but he got caught doing blow in the back of a van.
That's right.
What's his name? He just won the Heisman. But
he's a player, bro.
He was dude. If you're doing blow in the back of a van, like, actually, we'll still draft you. What was his name? I'll look that one up because he didn't win the Heisman. God, the chat's rolling.
What year did Eric Crouch win it?
2001.
God, dog, who's 2002?
I don't want to look it up now. We just did this. Rondé? No,
Ew,
that was
gross. How boring.
Was that 2002?
2000. Because I think 99 was Ricky Williams and 2000 was
98 was Ricky.
Okay, who was 99? Was that Charles Woodson? He beat it over Peyton Manning.
Yeah, and Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Iconic
Sunglasses. Look. Yeah, with the dreads.
No team wanted him.
It was kind of it was the first
it was
Oakley
the small
flats.
Ones. It's too small for his eyes.
He pinned the dreads with the.
He thought he was gonna win it.
Dude, he looked so good.
I'm better than everybody here.
And he knew it.
Yeah.
What are we looking up? No, I'm looking up Arkansas's quarterback's name, bro. Oh, okay. 2002. That's right. They won the Orange Bowl that year. They beat Iowa.
That was before that was
kind of like their launch.
Yeah.
Here we come.
The launch point.
Yeah.
And then it was 2003 was what did we say?
2003 was Jason White. Yeah.
And then Matt Leinart.
LSU beat the shit out of him.
Reggie.
Ryan Heck with the $50 super chat. You top or bottom in prison? I'm definitely not on the bottom of your fat ass, Heck.
I think you have to be a bottom.
But probably
to be
bottom.
A top.
But probably bottom.
You have to establish. You can't establish dominance in prison that quickly. You be a bottom to get to the top.
Good to see you, Heck. Matt Jones.
Matt Jones.
Strides. Remember his strides?
Lines.
Line by line.
Ready to go. Is this chalk on the field?
God, what a sad day. Matt keeps face planting down, Coach. We can't get him off the hash.
The goal line.
We can't get him off the hash marks. Reed Rule asked Jordy.
Coach, I've heard you talk about this goal line package.
You mind if I snort the hash mark, Coach?
I've heard you say I want to get a fade or faded. I'll play wide receiver.
Yeah, that's what it was called. Mark Davis, the miracle on Markham. Randall Gay. Do it right over the top of him. Okay. Jay Will, it's back to LSU. It's back to the basement for LSU basketball.
No doubt.
Louisiana does not produce top basketball talent, and Will Wade was the sole reason elite talent even considered LSU. No, it is true. Louisiana does not have year in, year out. It's not football here.
Well,
I think a lot of the superstars. Look at the superstars for LSU. They're all out of state.
I would say all of the guys that play football are probably very good basketball players.
Say it again.
All the guys that play football, like Jordan Tolles, is a great.
Yeah, but they're not recruiting the football guys.
That's what I'm saying. They would rather play football than play basketball. It doesn't mean they don't produce talent. Peabody is in Alexandria.
Sure. No, I understand what you're saying. They just don't choose basketball anymore.
Markel Brown
went to Oklahoma State.
from Peabody.
Butch Pierre.
I saw him jerk off on the crowd in front, like he air jerked into the Peabody crowd after he made a three.
Bad celebration.
Well, he's the one guy that's ever got a double technical for dunking. Out the game.
For what? Would he hang on the rim too long?
No, he just was nasty.
Yeah, love that. Jimmy Magoo, I was at the Miracle on Markham. Damn, it was freezing that night, wasn't it? If I remember correctly, it was like miserably cold.
In Arkansas?
In Arkansas.
Which one?
Yeah, I believe it was Fayetteville.
What was it? Where did Trendon take that punt back or
Little
kick
Rock.
back? What stadium is Old Memorial?
War Memorial.
Yeah. I love that stadium just because only good memories.
Me too.
I hated Arkansas when it was Casey Dick,
Yeah.
McFadden,
Ugh.
in Tiger Stadium. Couldn't stop him.
Yeah. Les Miles.
Yeah, beat him at his own game. Run the ball 50 times.
Arkansas. It's Arkansas. Oh, thanks, Les. They've been
Be
talking
back.
about that all week, you dumbass. Bill Self never played a player. Psych.
Best player to ever win the Heisman?
Best player never to win a Heisman?
Adrian Peterson, Darren McFadden,
Peterson. Peyton Manning.
Michael Vick,
Randy Moss.
Peyton Manning.
Randy Moss.
They might be Randy. He couldn't even get into. They didn't want him.
Well, no, they threw him off the team.
That's what I'm saying. To have to go to Marshall and still be a first-round pick is unbelievable.
Chad Pennington.
Yeah. And then Byron Leftwich.
Jimmy Magoo, worst stadium of all time. I agree. Rodney Kraft, Louisiana has basketball talent. They just need to stay more than a year and develop. Wade got players, but they never leave after a season. Jordan Simpson, what's the odds of LSU going deep in the tournament without Wade? I feel if we had Wade in the 19 tournament that they have gotten past Michigan State. It's a sad day. Hashtag boot up. Hashtag proud season ticket holder.
Would you get a tattoo?
Nah. Boot up?
Yeah.
Ass cheek?
Anywhere. I mean, you can hide them.
Yeah.
Ash cheek, fine.
Back.
Will Wade's signature?
Whew. It's got a terrible signature.
He does. Is it? Did he not know?
He does know. I just think it's one of those things that he just doesn't get. He didn't care about.
Dale Brown has a terrible signature.
Christian McCaffrey on best player never to win a Heisman from Zimbabwe
Well,
Fest.
he deserves
Jason
to win it.
McCormick says
most deserving
LaDainian Tomlinson.
From?
TCU.
Easy.
Christian McCaffrey from?
Stanford.
Easy.
God, I miss old college football.
Me too. What was the golden age for you? What years?
03 to 12.
Yeah.
In it. Knew everything. Did what you did. Studied the program. Like, what's wrong with you?
I went
don't
through
know.
phases of golden ages, the early golden age, and the reason why I'm probably here doing what I do is because of the love I had for sports when like 7 to 12, where
It was so good.
it was ecstasy.
It's a factory.
It was a drug. It was
Patrick Peterson.
It was the high. It was like you could never get enough of it. I mean, it was almost like when I was that age. I remember, and I was telling me and Kelly were talking about this the other night. I remember my uncle when I was
I'm
about
sure she loved this conversation.
Jordan's age. When I was about Jordan's age, so about 11 years old. I'll never forget. Like my uncle was in summer school at LSU, and I just wanted to go hang on
around
campus, right? So my uncle was kind of laid back dude, didn't give a fuck about anything, still very, chill. As an 11-year-old, he would be like, meet me at the Tiger Cage here, and like he would give me like a watch and be like a digital watch, like meet me here at, when this says 2:30, meet me here, right? Like at the Tiger Cage. And
Is he in school?
And he was in school. He would like,
Good
walk
for him
around.
for going to class.
Absolutely.
Or
Well,
whatever
it was
doing.
time.
Yeah.
He was one of those 7 to 10 year guys like me. That's where I got it
I
from.
got to get a piece of paper.
Yeah, he just had to do it. You know what I mean? And this is like year 6 and 7, 8. You know what I mean? Like he's got to commit. It's time to commit.
Still
And I would
looking where
just
Heim's
I
Hall
would just
is.
run around and like sneak in the Maravich Center, sneak in Tiger Stadium, get into the locker room, getting into the dungeon, watching them play. Can't get in trouble because I'm the kid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like
I remember when that first realization when it was like, what are you doing here? Like I was like, oh, I'm at the point in my life where I look like the weirdo now. Like I've been doing this my whole life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I've been crashing practices my whole life. What do you mean? Is this weird? But like that part of it, like the Harvey Williams, the Tommy Hotson, the Wendell Davis, the Shaquille O'Neal, the Chris Jackson, the Jamie Brandon, the Clarence Caesar, like those days, bro, throw anybody at me and just let me work. Let me eat. And then college, like probably a little pre-college, like Kevin Falk. Like the end of Kevin Falk, 96, 97 through like 2000 I bailed in 08 because I knew Les was about to fuck this thing up beyond repair.
We had that
the day Perilou got kicked off, I said, LSU is about to be swimming in the gutter.
The Will Wade and Ron Perilou are the same thing to me.
Les's Saban grace had run out. You know what I mean? Like the Saban, the Dorseys, the Hesters, all those guys were now gone from the program, and you had to have you needed Perilou, you needed a quarterback to get you by.
I still remember getting that. I don't know I guess it might have been Tiger Rag. When Ron Perilou said, "I'm going to be the first 4-time Heisman winner," and Jamarcus Russell was on campus.
Yeah,
like, what do you know, dude?
I remember we snuck into me and my buddies in college. I think it might have been Jesse McCormick was with us.
No doubt.
We snuck into the 2005 first spring scrimmage that had Perilou, Russell, and Flynn as the quarterbacks. And they put Perilou in. He was starting on a unit, and then like they were flipping Jamarcus and Flynn. And like Perilou was like the standalone on his team. And they were like, bro, 11's the guy.
Best player on the
He's
team.
the one. I mean, because that day he knew he wasn't going to start. He was motivated by that. Came out there, was like standing straight up and zipping it to like Dwayne Bowe, Craig Davis, that squad. You know what I mean, dude? It was porn. It was football porn. I mean, it was just like, holy shit. Look at the players that this team has.
He's St. John.
Oh, he got shot. He's like 11. Like shot, like he's got like a straight like bullet wound to the chest. He played a practical joke on his sister and kicked the door in while she was in bed with a dude. The dude that she's in bed with is some like dude up and like over there and
John whipped him
and just throws Perilou back. But I mean, like he got to like, I mean, dude, he was so good. He was so
that Middle Tennessee State
good.
game.
God.
When the fact that I thought he was so good when he started the SEC championship was like, we actually might be better.
No doubt. They were. They hit him. They hit him that day. They let him.
He stood in there.
They let him loose a couple of times in that game. The second half throw he made to Demetrius Byrd. The second half touchdown he threw to Demetrius Byrd. The cornerback for Tennessee thought he could get there. And he turned around, and the ball was like over his head, and D. Bird had caught it, and it was like, bro, Matt Flynn can't make that throw.
I love Matt Flynn.
Me too. I love Matt Flynn, and Matt Flynn would be the first to tell you. Like he was like watching that.
Could you imagine being Matt Flynn? Be like, oh my God, he's better than I am.
Well, I mean, he was bookended by Perilou and Russell.
Well, if there's
you think he's confident?
No
you think
Flynn's
Flynn's confident? I mean, how confident do you have to be to show up to work every day knowing that the two dogs behind in front of you are going to be potentially #1 overall picks?
I'm still going to play here.
Yeah, and I'm staying.
And I'm going to win a natty.
And I'm the one that's going to win a natty. I love that. Rodney Kraft, if Randy Livingston doesn't get hurt, LSU makes it to 2 more Final Fours and at least one of them. You can't say that, man. With the talent that Dale Brown had come through here that he squandered just because Randy Livingston was one of the best that we ever saw doesn't mean that they were going to win it because Chris Jackson, Shaq, and Stanley Roberts were a hell of a threesome on the floor. Basketball should go do what baseball does. Go pro or stay for 3 years.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. Sam Jenkins, Perilou threw that off his back foot, too. It was unbelievable.
Sexual.
It was. It was unbelievable. It was incredible, man. The ball never came 10 feet off the ground. I'm telling you, the thing was like a fucking laser.
And he looked cool.
Yes.
That
he looked
Florida game?
He's the one that wore the Kobe Hirachis. He was the only one. The Florida game when he scores the touchdown.
Was it 4th down?
It was 4th down, and then he has an early keeper around left end where he like fakes the pitch
to Keeland
and keeps it up. And I mean, he looks so good in the open field.
It was so easy.
My favorite play that he made all year long was either the pass to Virginia Tech where he stepped up and hit early Doucette over the top against Virginia Tech late in the game, or the Demetrius Byrd pass is the number one. That is the number one. But he also made a pass in what game was it, man?
Middle Tennessee State?
No, because he started and played wire to wire in that game. But they brought him off the bench in one game, and they ran that fake quarterback draw where he stepped back. And it was open every time because you had to think quarterback draw.
Les is an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. The biggest. Nola
What
P.
game was it?
It wasn't Alabama because he was suspended against Alabama that season because he started the brawl in fucking the varsity.
Not Florida.
It wasn't Florida. It wasn't Florida. Was it South Carolina, maybe? I think it was South Carolina. The day that they flipped the ball and Colt David did where he ran it in. Matt Flynn flipped it over his head and Colt David ran it in. I think that day in the rain.
Marcus Lattimore.
In the rain, he made a freaking
play.
Just
laser.
Still can't believe Will Wade's fired.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this. This is therapy.
It is therapy. What next? Hit me. Keep me moving.
We had Jared Mitchell on mic'd up, and he talked about that Virginia Tech LSU game.
Oh, God. He made a play that day, didn't he?
But he was saying, he had a crackback on a toss dive against Cam Chancellor. He looked at him, and he goes,
Fuck that.
He goes, I'm cutting him. And he cut Cam, and Cam goes, it's too early for all that in the season. He goes, bro, look at you.
Yeah.
What do you think I'm going to do? He goes, you're about to get cut all year. He's like, all right.
They had players all over that field.
That's the best game they've ever played under Les Miles' team.
No doubt about it. Not even close.
Keelan hurling that guy.
Oh,
it's still a picture.
A Sports Illustrated picture. You know, Tyrod Taylor came off the bench that night. That was his first action in college football.
You know who the starter was?
Sean Glennon.
Damn it.
What else you got? Eddie O, Jordy Stone to the bone, too.
Yeah, dude, we're mourning.
I mean, Eddie, when you've got the hookup at Relief Med like we do, just by using the promo code Jordy1, wouldn't you be? Reed Rule, hashtag Ask Lloyd, would you hire Chris Mack?
I don't know who that is.
I would not.
What does he do?
I don't know. Andrew Messina, some saw Spencer Ware highlights, a dog. They showed Les picking his ear, which means he was probably pissing himself, right, Jordy? I guess that was the indicator.
The distraction. It's a great move. A distraction.
Oh, man.
Spencer Ware underrated.
Properly rated.
By you, by us, but by pundits. Underrated.
LSU or pro?
Overall. If he never gets hurt.
Overall. I mean, his days at LSU, he was, at some points during that 11 season, he was the best player on the team.
He ran
with Matthew,
through.
Offensively.
Right.
Offensively.
No, but the only reason that toss dive worked is Spencer Ware wanted contact.
Yeah. And he was a threat to throw it. Jonathan Kerr, what did he threw? He threw a touchdown pass against Auburn to Ruben Randall? He was a lefty.
Yeah.
Jonathan K, what the hell happened? How does someone lose their job for a legal activity that's now deemed legal? You're out to get him, Johnny. He's a marked man, bro.
Hey, Johnny, maybe there's an avenue there where you can retroactively hire him back.
Maybe. Shed flips. Was new evidence revealed? If not, could LSU wait until after the tourney? Jeez.
Okay, this is actually a good conversation. What do you think LSU does for the tournament?
I think they're going to self-penalize themselves. I don't think they're going to go.
What does that do?
It shows in good faith to the NCAA that they're taking the necessary steps to clean up the program, and they're self-penalizing themselves. They fire the coach. We didn't go to the tournament. We put the bowl ban in for football. We limited scholarships. We've taken away recruiting visits. We've done stuff proactively before you can come down and rule and say what you're going to do, right?
So you
ask a question, you want the answer or what?
No, I'm just saying, why do all of that? Because none of it matters, right? Like, we've had the conversation before where it's like, the admittance of guilt is the only thing you need, but the self-penalization, look what happened to Oklahoma State. It's the reason that you don't do it. North Carolina State didn't admit anything, and they did not get banned from the postseason.
It's a good point, man. I don't.
This is so fucked.
It is. Golly, bro. It sucks.
What do you think he eats tonight?
I don't think he eats. Not on a day like today. The appetite's gone, bro. Could you imagine? I mean, this is a breakup.
Sickening.
This is a divorce. Absolutely. I mean, this is a death. I mean, you're in mourning. You are. I mean, think about how you feel. My biggest question would be, does he run tomorrow?
All the way to Virginia?
I don't know. I mean,
where's his hometown?
Nashville.
Where's in Nashville? I don't know what you do, dude. I feel gross.
Bear 24, this is ridiculous. Over some money. Shaking my head. I feel you, Bear.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason Phillips.
They're paying him anyway.
Yeah. Jason Phillips, just wake and bake. We did. Shed Flips. Might be our last tournament for a few years, just saying.
100%.
Yeah, you're right.
What year would you put the next time LSU makes it to the NCAA tournament?
4 years. 4 years.
And next year, they're going to win it.
Oh, God, next year they were going to be so good.
Does Brandon Murray leave?
I think they all leave, bro. You're staring down the face of sanctions. Your coach isn't there.
So
totally new university.
That's my point. I mean? What's the why leave the tournament? If all these guys are gonna leave anyway, might as well play it out
to save the sanctions.
Well, the sanctions are the fact that everybody on your team is not gonna be there, except for Parker Edwards.
Brian Burgess, man, to be invested in over a coach that you can't eat over. I hear you, Brian.
What does that mean?
No, you just can't get over how much we like him. Rodney Kraft, back in the day, there was not a single sign or advertising in Tiger Stadium. No music system, just a bland old scoreboard. What's that mean, Rod?
The sun is set in the western sky.
Nola P, why not name an interim? Why name an interim if you're not going to play? Just say it today. That's a good point.
They're playing. And they're going to win it all. He can coach from the couch. Text. He's good at that.
I'm over it, bro. I'm done.
You're washing yourself?
Of this broadcast, yes.
Oh, I'm over the broadcast, 100%. But I'm not over the firing. This was shocking to me.
No. I'm just ready to go into another state of mourning. All fair.
Yeah, me too. Thank you all for hanging.
Go 509. Victimless crime. Completely ridiculous. Completely agree. Go. Have a great weekend. Please hit the like and share button. We appreciate you joining us here on this somber, sad Saturday. We'll be back with you on Monday, 7 a.m. Compliments of Go Chevrolet. Have a great rest of your weekend. Boot up.
Rest in peace.
Boot up.
My king.
Acting the right way. That's what we talk about, right? Acting for us, we're going to be aggressive, we're going to be committed, but now we're going to build a consistent, sustainable winner here. We're going to build something that the whole state of Louisiana can be proud of, the whole LSU family can be proud of. We're going to do that on a culture based on acting the right way. That's what we talk about, right? Acting for us, we're going to be aggressive, we're going to be committed, but now we're